guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Emma and I'm super excited about doing today's video. The lovely people at Arrtx contacted me and asked me if I would like to try out their acrylic brush tip markers. And of course I said yes, because I have been super keen to try out some acrylic markers that have a brush tip. So the markers they sent me are the 48 acrylic marker set. They came in an awesome box, and the box contains 3 smaller, really accessible trays full of markers. As with most colouring products, it's always a really good idea to swatch your colours, as we all know that the actual real colour will often differ from the colour that's shown on the cap. And I actually really enjoyed swatching these markers, which, if you know me, is very strange because I do not usually like swatching. But I made this cute swatch chart with sketches of mini little Arrtx markers, which made the whole process a little bit more fun. The markers come with little stickers. They aren't actually on, but you can easily pop them onto all the markers, and they have the numbers on them that you can use to add to the swatch charts. They were super easy to apply, and there was literally no need for shaking or pressing down on the nib, which, if you guys are the same as me, drives you nuts with usual acrylic markers. And because they do have a brush, they don't block up and don't flood. So basically, in my mind, this whole brush tip situation is a total game changer. I did receive these about a week ago, so I have used them a little bit already. And I really love the colours that came in this pack. It has a variety of brights and earthy toned colours. I found all the colours to be highly pigmented and super vibrant. I also found that the brush can actually be used for super thin lines when you just use the tip, and also really wide lines when you use the whole brush. Another thing that I love about these brushes is that they are super flexible. I am going to use these Arrtx acrylic markers today on 2 different colouring pages using 2 different techniques. Both techniques are something that I have been wanting to give a go for quite a while. So I will first be doing a coffee spill colouring page, and secondly a mark making colouring page. Both I think will work really well with acrylic markers. I first saw this coffee spill idea on Sapphire Colours channel, and I really wanted to give it a try. Since then, I had a little bit of a look into it and realised that it's actually a thing, and that quite a lot of it is going on TikTok. So I thought, why not? I'll give it a go. I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll see how it turns out. So here I am, just pouring the coffee onto my page and splattering it like an absolute crazy woman and getting it literally everywhere, clothes, walls, everything. It ended up being really wet. Luckily, it was a super sunny day, so I just popped it outside for half an hour and brought it back in when it was dry, and now it's all ready to go. So next step was I had to outline the splash marks with a fine liner, and this was really quite a relaxing process. I made some of those tiny little splashes and splats a little bit bigger, as I knew I was going to have to colour them in with a bit of colour, and it would be really hard if they were the tiny little splats that were actually there in the first place. I decided this monkey was calling out for a super bright, happy colour palette. So I went through the markers and found 5 colours to start with, and I was going to use them as a base and then just jump off from there when I wanted other colours to add in. Super easy to find these colours. There's so many beautiful, bright colours in this acrylic marker pack, and I really like the colours that I chose. So here I am just colouring it all in. These markers are super juicy, really enjoyable to use. And here we go, 3 seconds into it and already made a mistake, but we'll just ignore that and carry on. And as you can see, I'm able to colour in big areas and small areas without any problem at all. here's a finished monkey. I actually think it worked really well. I did do a little bit off screen, so I added in some gel pen just to fill in the really tiny marks for his hair. Also some of the lines on the jumper. Just the really thin stuff that I needed to do. But apart from that, everything is done with those Arrtx acrylic markers, and I really enjoyed using them. The brush tip is honestly such a joy to use. So let's do the next one. The next page I'm doing is out of Shooting Star by Maria Trolle. And I've chosen this page here because it is quite plain and it has lots of big spaces that I can do mark making in. To start with, I just filled in the hills with full colour, just the big spaces. And then once that's all filled in, I can go in and make it a little bit more interesting with the line making. And so here's a pure example of the most amazing thing about these markers. You can make mistakes and just go straight over the top. I did not want this hill to be pink, so I wanted it to be dark pink. So I just went straight over the top and you wouldn't know. You can also see how quickly and easy it is to fill in the big spaces when you hold the marker on the side. So I filled in all the big spaces, and now's a super fun bit of the mark making. So what I'm doing is I'm just using different marks and lines with the marker to create textures and patterns. I also think that it does help to create depth in your picture as well. So hopefully I'm hoping that it will show depth between the hills. You can use all different types of marks, lines, dots, crosshatches. There's so many different ways that you can do it. The way I did this was I was just like super loose, and I just went with what I felt was going to work. I didn't really plan it out at all. I just felt my way through it, and I actually really enjoyed doing it that way because I didn't feel any pressure at all. Here's a picture with most of the mark making finished. I'm just going to use the white to fill in some dots in the sky to make it look like stars. When I'm doing the stars, you will probably notice that I'm putting my finger on some of them. That's to make the dot a little bit blurry, to make it look like those stars are in the distance a little bit more. If you have a look in the left-hand corner, if you remember beforehand, there was lots of foliage and flowers and trees there. I did colour them in, but then I decided I didn't like them. So I just grabbed myself one of the darker Arrtx markers and just went straight over the top. They're so opaque, I just could cover the whole thing up and you couldn't see what was underneath. Total lifesaver. It still has some weird red circles that were the flowers that I couldn't really cover up, but I don't really think it's that noticeable. And here you go. Here's a finished picture. I finished all the dots, coloured in the house and coloured in the tiny little squirrel up the top there. I did use gel pens for the tiny little squirrel. But everything else on that page is done with the Arrtx acrylic markers. I really enjoyed doing this picture. I love how it looks. It's so different from anything else that I colour. And it's just super easy and you can be really loose and just go for it. I had such a great time using these markers. I love the colour selection in this 48 pack and was super impressed by how well the brush tips worked. The way they dried so quickly during the colouring process was a huge plus too. If you're looking for a solid set of brush tip acrylic markers, I would definitely give this Arrtx pack a try. It's definitely one that I'll be reaching for more often. So thank you very much for watching my video, and until next time, happy colouring. Bye.